Hi, and welcome to this second to last installment of our unit notes, part 5 on maps. We have a lot to say about maps, some of which you know, some of which you don't, so let's get to it. When we talk about the different elements of maps, there are 7 in particular that we want to focus in on, and the acronym for this is TALDOGS, for title, author, legend, date, orientation, grid, and scale. Let's go through them one by one. The first one is the title, obviously. It tells you what the map shows, and it's the kind of thing that you can easily kind of glance over without looking at. That way you meet somebody and shake their hand and they say their name, but you don't really listen. But you should really figure out what the title is. If you don't read it, you're going to miss the point. You could look at this map right here and have no clue until you look at the title down below, above the legend, that says it's for the peak breeding dates for white-tailed deer in South Carolina. Not really something you'd be interested in unless you're, say, a hunter or a randy deer. This will guide you towards maps that are more or less useful for you. Often the title includes a geographic area like Europe, Colombia, and a theme. Maybe climate, maybe traffic, maybe the type of, maybe the baseball team that people in an area like. This one we've got a trail system, so helpful to hikers, in the Forks area, which I guess is around Edgefield or McCormick counties for those of us who don't know. Second thing to look for, second element, is the author. Sometimes there won't be an author given, and that's okay. Usually when that happens, that means it's the map was created by some company, or, I don't know, the manufacturers of your textbook, of an atlas, a book of maps, that kind of thing. And the author will tell you if it is a person or is an institution, perhaps. The usefulness of the author is because it can clue you in to help you better understand things about the map, what assumptions it's making, what interests it has, what biases it has. And it's also important to keep in mind that this works in the reverse direction. For instance, when we look at the map in front of us now, what do we notice about it? You probably noticed that North America is front and center, and rather than doing what people usually do and divide the map, along the Pacific where nobody really lives, and then having, North America on the left side and Asia on the right side, they put the U.S. especially smack in the center and chop up Russia. So you can bet they're probably not a Russian person who wrote this map. They're probably an American, maybe a Canadian. But you can tell that they are more interested in the U.S., or maybe they have a kind of U.S.-centric view of the world. We'll be looking at a lot of different kind of angles on the maps as we go through this unit and future units. So it's always important to keep in mind what you can learn about the author and vice versa. The legend is the third element of maps we're going to be looking at. It's also called the key, and it's the little thing that says what the symbols on the map mean. They could be stars, dotted lines, pretty much anything. Look at the legend and that will reveal a lot to you. The legend also tells you what might be important to the author. For instance, if we were just to read the title of this, we would say Dambe. Okay, interesting. I don't know anything about Dambe. I won't look at the legend. I'll just try to guess. Maybe it's a treasure map. So I'll go to right here where there's a bunch of X's and I'll start digging. But because you didn't read the legend down here, you would blow up, because the legend says that those X's are actually a minefield. This is clearly an area that was either formerly or is currently a battlefield. So read the legend. The author of this, clearly was worried about being blown up while he or she walked around, this area. So again, the first 3 things to keep in mind. Yes, we've got the fourth element of TALDOGS. It is the date. This can be useful or less useful. If it's a very standard generic map, then the date doesn't really matter. It's not going to tell you much. But it can also shed light on the purposes or limitations of the author. For instance, if this map in front of us right now were to be produced by someone in, let's say 2014, we would say, wow, this person has no grasp of geography. But, based on the fact that they have no idea about the existence of like Seattle, and they think Baja California is about as big as, Mexico itself, you can tell that they were probably making this map several centuries ago, and this is a little bit fuzzy, but when you look at the map in a little better definition, you can tell that yes, the date is from centuries previous. So this isn't this is kind of an oversimplistic example of how date would inform the map, or the map would inform the date, but it is something to keep in mind. All right, I think we're going to stop halfway through TALDOGS and handle the rest in our next installment. Have a good day.